Enjoy your trip to Japan Kinki region. The Kinki region is located in the central and western part of Japan and has long been the center of Japanese culture, politics, and economy. Characteristics of the Kinki region: historical and cultural center. Kyoto and Nara were once the capitals of Japan and are famous as ancient capitals. That culture is still very much present today. The following places are considered hidden tourist spots in the Kinki region, especially for foreigners. Amanahashidate. Kyoto Prefecture is a 3.6 kilometers long sandbar formed by the forces of nature about 7,000 years ago, and is famous as one of the 3 most scenic spots of Japan. Its beautiful scenery and mythical history attract many people. History. Amanahashidate has been revered as a sacred place since ancient times, and many myths have been passed down. One particularly famous legend is that the bridge built by Izanagi no Makoto, the younger brother of Amaterasu Omikami, to connect heaven and earth collapsed, becoming Amanahashidate. This bridge is considered sacred even today, as it is the heavenly bridge that connects heaven and earth. This area has many temples and shrines, and is deeply connected to mythology and faith. Attractions. 1. Amanahashidate View Land. This is an observation deck located at the southern end of Amanahashidate, where you can enjoy the view of Amanahashidate, also known as Hiraiyukan. The name Hiraiyukan comes from the fact that Amanahashidate looks like a dragon soaring into the sky. You can reach the top by lift or monorail, making it a popular spot for families. 2. Kasumatsu Park, located on the north side of Amanahashidate. This is an observation spot where you can enjoy the view known as Shoryukan. You can see Amanahashidate, which looks like a rising dragon, and it's a place where you can relax in a quiet atmosphere. 3. Motoise Kanojinja Shrine. Motoise Kanojinja Shrine is a shrine that is deeply connected to the mythology of Amanahashidate, and is also known as the original Shrine of Ai's Grand Shrine. It is an ancient place of worship and is considered especially sacred. In addition, there are many famous power spots scattered around the area, which attract many visitors. 4. Cheonji Temple. Cheonji Temple is a temple dedicated to Manjusri Bodhisattva, the god of learning and wisdom, and is one of the popular great students taking exams and those praying for academic success, and is also a must-see historical building. The grounds feature a magnificent pagoda and a beautiful garden. Access. Train. Take the Junior Limited Express, Hashidate, from Kyoto Station and arrive in about 2 hours. The nearest station is Amanahashidate Station on the Junior Miyazu line, from where you can walk or take a lift to each tourist spot. Car. About 2.5 hours by car from Kyoto City. Take the Kyoto-Jukan Expressway. There are several parking lots, but they can get crowded during the tourist season, so it's a good idea to arrive early. Tips to remember when visiting. 2. Busy times. During tourist season, Amanahashidate is a popular tourist destination throughout the year, but it gets especially crowded during Golden Week and summer vacation. To avoid crowds, it's best to visit early in the morning or on a weekday. If you make reservations for lifts and tourist facilities in advance, you can enjoy sightseeing smoothly. 3. Sightseeing on foot. You can walk across Amanahashidate, but it is important to have enough time and energy because the distance is long. The sandbar is mostly flat, but we recommend wearing comfortable walking shoes. Summary. Amanahashidate is a place where natural beauty and mythology come together, and you can experience history while touring the observation spots and shrines and temples. If you plan to visit, it's a good idea to plan your visit in advance, taking into account the weather and crowds. 2. Asuka Village. Nara Prefecture is a region that has played an important role in the ancient history of Japan. As the capital of the Asuka period. (592 to 710), it is a place where Japanese history and culture developed. The Asuka of Japan's first village was the capital and cultural center of the Asuka period. During this period, Buddhism and the Ritsuryo system were introduced, and architecture and art developed greatly. Famous historical figures such as Prince Shotoku and the Soga clan played important roles in establishing the foundations of Japan's first centralized state. The glory of the Soga clan. During the period when the Soga clan was particularly powerful, many luxurious buildings were constructed, some of which are still excavated today. For example, the Ishibutai tomb, which is said to be the tomb of Soga no Momoko, and the Asuka Palace ruins, where the imperial family lived at the time. Asuka culture represents the unique culture of the time when Buddhism was introduced to Japan and when Japan was strongly influenced by East Asia and the Silk Road. Many cultural heritage sites were born here, including Japan's first Buddhist temple, Asukadera, and the murals at Takamatsuzuka Tomb. Attractions. 1. Ishibutai Tomb. This is the largest ancient tomb in Japan with a horizontal stone chamber, and is believed to be the tomb of Soga no Momoko. This is a place where you can feel the power of the megaliths and ancient technology. The area is surrounded by a spacious park, where you can enjoy a stroll while feeling the ancient atmosphere. 2. Takamatsuzuka Tomb. This tomb was built between the end of the 7th century and the beginning of the 8th century. The excavated murals are famous as the first authentic ancient art in Japan. In particular, the 4 gods and figures dressed in colorful clothing are depicted, making this a valuable resource for learning about the culture of the Asuka period. 3. Asukadera Temple. Japan's oldest Buddhist temple, built by Prince Shotoku. The temple grounds house the Asuka Daibutsu, the oldest Buddha statue in Japan, and you can feel the history of the introduction of Buddhism to Japan. 4. Tachibana Dera Temple. This temple is said to be the birthplace of Prince Shotoku. Tachibana Dera Temple is home to many cultural assets related to the worship of Prince Shotoku, including buildings from the Asuka period. You can also see a strange stone called the Two-Faced Stone. 5. Kameishi and Tsurushi. Asuka village is dotted with mysterious stone structures, with the Kameishi and Tsurushi being particularly famous. These stones are believed to be associated with ancient beliefs and rituals, but their exact purpose remains a mystery. 6. Amakashi Hill. A small hill overlooking Asuka village, said to have been the residence of the Soga clan. The view from Amagashi Hill is popular as a place where you can take a leisurely stroll while taking in the historical scenery of Asuka village. Access. Train. Take JR Kintetsu. The nearest station is Asuka Station on the Kintetsu Yoshino line. Many people rent bicycles from Asuka Station and travel around Asuka village, which is a convenient place to do so since it is dotted with a wide range of tourist attractions. Bicycles can be rented in front of the station and at various tourist facilities. Bus. There is a sightseeing bus that runs from Asuka Station, allowing you to travel around the main tourist spots efficiently. Buses also sell one-day passes that allow unlimited rides, so it's convenient to make use of them. By car it is about 1 to 1.5 hours by car from Osaka or Kyoto, and even easier to access from within Nara Prefecture. Parking lots are available around each tourist spot, but they can get crowded, so we recommend arriving early. Things to note when visiting. 1. With many bicycles, Asuka village is a large area, so it will take a long time to get around by foot. Bicycles and rental electric bikes are suitable for sightseeing, but as the terrain is very hilly, those who are not confident in their physical strength may find it more comfortable to choose an electric bike. 2. Be aware of the season and time of day. Asuka village is a place where you can enjoy the scenery of every season, but it tends to get crowded, especially during the cherry blossom season in spring and the autumn leaves season in fall. I recommend visiting early in the morning or on a weekday. 3. Consideration for protecting historical sites. Asuka village is dotted with many historical sites and cultural assets, so it is important for visitors to respect the cultural assets and adhere to the restricted areas in order to protect them. Summary. Asuka village is a place where you can experience Japan's ancient history, and flourished as the political and cultural center of the Asuka period. The footsteps of the Soga clan and Prince Shotoku remain everywhere, and there are many sights to see, including ancient tombs, temples, and stone structures. When visiting, it is convenient to travel by bicycle, and you can enjoy history at your own pace while being mindful of the ruins and cultural assets. 3. Mount Koya Wakayama. Located in the Kii Mountains of Wakayama Prefecture, and boasts a history of over 1,200 years. It is registered as part of the World Heritage Site, Sacred Sites and Pilgrimage Routes in the Kii mountain range, and was established by Kakai Kobo Daishi, the founder of Shingon Buddhism. Kakai and Shingon Buddhism. Mount Koya was founded by Kakai in the early Heian period as a training center for esoteric Shingon Buddhism, and has since attracted many followers as the head temple of the Shingon sect. Mount Koya was bestowed upon the temple by Emperor Saga in 816, and it flourished as a place of training and learning. Kakai had a major influence on the politics and culture of the time, and Mount Koya established its position as a sacred place for Buddhism. Okunoan and faith in Kobo Daishi. It is believed that Kakai still lives in his mausoleum in Okunoan even after he attained enlightenment, the state of eternal meditation, and many people visit Mount Koya to seek his protection. Okunoan is the greatest religious center of Mount Koya, and is always crowded with worshippers. Attractions. 1. Okunoan, the most important sacred site in Mount Koya, where Kobo Daishi is said to continue meditating even today. The approach to the shrine is lined with gravestones of military commanders and cultural figures who represent Japanese history, and is dotted with gravestones and memorials of historically prominent figures, including Tokugawa Ieyasu and Toyotomi Hideyoshi. As you walk along the approach to the shrine, you will come to the Gobyo Shrine at the end, which is the mausoleum of Kobo, the center of Mount Koya and the place where Kakai began his training. Danjo-garen is home to important buildings such as the Konpon Daito and Kondo. The Konpon Daito is considered a symbol of esoteric Shingon Buddhism, and inside are enshrined Buddhist statues and mandalas that express the teachings of Kakai. 3. Kongobuji Temple, the head temple of the Koyasan Shingon sect and the place where monks conduct their daily training. It was once an important temple that controlled all Shingon Buddhist temples across the country, and even today it is a central location visited by many believers. Within the temple grounds, there is a beautiful rock garden called Banryute, where you can relax in a tranquil atmosphere. 4. Reihokan, a museum that displays precious Buddhist art and historical materials handed down at Mount Koya. There are many exhibits related to Kakai, including Buddhist statues and calligraphy, allowing visitors to learn more about the culture and history of esoteric Shingon Buddhism. 5. Shukubo Temple Lodgings at Mount Koya. Mount Koya is dotted with Shukubo temple lodgings where monks can stay while undergoing their training. Worshippers can also stay overnight and experience Buddhist life, including vegetarian cuisine and morning services chanting sutras in front of the Buddha. There are many lodgings available, but reservations are required in advance. Access. Train from Osaka, take the Nankai Electric Railway, Koya Line, to Gokurukubashi Station, then take the cable car to Koyasan Station. The journey takes about an hour and a half from Osaka Namba Station. From Koyasan Station, you can take a bus to major sightseeing spots such as Okunoan and Danjo-garen. Bus from Koyasan Station. There are buses that run around Mount Koya, providing convenient access to the main tourist spots. Bus passes are also available for purchase, allowing unlimited use in one day. By car it takes about 2 to 2.5 hours by car from Osaka or Nara. However, you should be careful when driving in winter due to snow accumulation and frozen roads. Parking lots are scattered around Mount Koya, but they can get crowded during peak tourist seasons. Things to note when visiting. 1. Weather and temperature. Mount Koya is located at an altitude of about 800 meters. It can snow in the winter, so you need to be careful about what you wear. The weather is relatively comfortable in spring and autumn, but it's a good idea to bring a jacket in case the weather changes. 2. Buddhist manners. Mount Koya is a sacred place for Buddhism, and you are expected to worship quietly, especially in Okunoan. Eating, drinking and smoking are prohibited on the approach to the shrine, and photography is also restricted in some areas, so please be sure to follow local rules. 3. Using a temple lodging. When staying at a temple lodging, it is important to be respectful of Buddhist ways of life, as it is different from a regular hotel. Shojin Ryori is a traditional cuisine that does not use meat or fish, and participating in the morning service is a unique experience. It's a good idea to make reservations in advance. 4. How to avoid busy periods. Many worshippers visit the temple during the Miiku festival, which is the anniversary of Kobo Daishi's death, and during the Oben festival. If you want to avoid the crowds, it is recommended that you avoid these periods. If you visit on a weekday or early in the morning, you will be able to worship in relative peace and quiet. Summary. Mount Koya is an important holy site in Japanese Buddhism and the head temple of the Shingon sect with a history of over 1,200 years. Sites such as Okunoan, Danjo-garen, and Kongobuji Temple are deeply connected to Buddhist teachings and Japanese history, and attract many worshippers. Another attraction of Mount Koya is the experience of experiencing Buddhist life while staying at a temple lodging. When visiting, it is important to pay attention to the weather and clothing, and to observe Buddhist etiquette while experiencing the sacredness of this place. 4. Meijuro Kyoto Prefecture. Meijuro City is located in the northern part of Kyoto Prefecture. This is an attractive area with abundant nature and the remains of a naval port that is deeply connected to the history of modern Japan. History. During the Edo period, Meijuru flourished as part of the Tango domain and strengthened its role as a port town. Development as a naval port. Meijuru's historical turning point came during the Meiji period, when a naval base was established as a key defense base along the Sea of Japan coast. Meijuru Naval District was established in 1901 and served as an important base for the Japanese Navy throughout the Russo-Japanese War and World War II. During this period, many military facilities and port facilities were established, and Meijuru developed as a naval port city. A symbol of post-war reconstruction and peace after the war, Meijuru served as a repatriation port and served as a base for the return of Japanese people who had been interned in Siberia and those who had returned from the battlefield, and many Japanese returned home through Meijuru. This history marked the turning point for Meijuru to become a symbol of peace as a city of repatriation. Attractions. 1. Meijuru Red Brick Park. A group of red brick warehouses built as a naval facility during the Meiji period. It has now been restored and is used as a museum and event space. Inside, there are exhibits introducing the history of Meijuru and its role as a military port, and there is also a wide selection of warships and naval-related materials. 2. Meijuru Repatriation Memorial Museum. A museum that tells the history of Meijuru, which welcomed repatriates from Siberian internment camps after the war. Here you can learn about the hardships faced by repatriates and the role of Meijuru port, and there are many exhibits that make you feel the importance of peace. 3. Guro Sky Tower. An observation tower offering a panoramic view of Meijuru port and the city. It is built on the summit of Mount Goryeo and on clear days offers beautiful views of the Sea of Japan and Meijuru Bay. It is a popular spot for tourists as it offers a variety of seasonal scenery. 4. Meijuru Natural Culture Park. A park surrounded by beautiful nature, with cherry blossoms and azaleas blooming in the spring and hydrangeas blooming in the summer. The hydrangea garden is especially famous, and in June tens of thousands of hydrangeas spread across the ground, creating a spectacular sight. 5. Meijuru Port and Warship Tours. The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces escort ships are anchored at Meijuru Port, and tours of the ships are also available. There is also the Meijuru Maritime Self-Defense Force Museum, where you can learn about the history and role of the Maritime Self-Defense Force, and learn about Meijuru from a military and defense perspective. By train. To get to Meijuru, take the JR Meijuru line from Kyoto Station to Higashi Meijuru Station. It takes about 2 hours by express train. By car it takes about 1 hour and 45 minutes by car from Kyoto City to Meijuru. Parking lots are available throughout the city, but they can get busy during peak tourist season, so it's recommended that you arrive early. Bus. There are express buses running from Osaka and Kyoto to Meijuru, making it a convenient means of transportation. In particular, direct buses from Kyoto to Meijuru run frequently, making it a common means of transportation along with the train. Things to note when visiting. 1. And be aware of the seasonal weather. Meijuru is influenced by the climate of the Sea of Japan coast. If you visit in winter, you will need to take precautions against the cold. Also, it gets hot in the summer, so be sure to dress appropriately and stay hydrated when you visit. 2. Opening hours of tourist attractions. Meijuru's tourist attractions, such as Red Brick Park and the Repatriation Memorial Museum, have set opening hours, so we recommend checking in advance before visiting. Also, it may get crowded on holidays and certain days, so it's best to plan your schedule with plenty of time. 3. Securing transportation. To get around Meijuru efficiently, it is convenient to use public transportation or rental bicycles. Summary. Meijuru is a historic port town facing the Sea of Japan, with a unique history including relics from its days as a naval port and its role as a repatriation port after the war. There are many things to see, such as the red brick warehouses, the Repatriation Memorial Hall, and tours of warships, so you'll discover something new every time you visit. It is an attractive tourist destination where you can spend time leisurely learning about history while enjoying the beautiful natural scenery. When visiting, it is important to pay attention to the weather and transportation so that you can enjoy sightseeing efficiently. 5. Mount Hiei Shiga Prefecture. Has long been known as one of the centers of Japanese Buddhism. Straddles Shiga Prefecture in Kyoto Prefecture. In particular, it is famous as a place of Buddhist training because it is home to Enryaku-ji Temple, the head temple of the Tendai sect, and has had a profound influence on Japanese religion and culture. History. The origin of Mount in the late 8th century of Mount when Dengyo Daishi Seicho founded Enryaku-ji Temple in 788 Enryaku 7. Seicho brought the Tendai sect he learned in China to Japan and chose this mountain as the place for his training. Since then, Mount Hiei has produced many eminent monks as a training center for the Tendai sect, and has become a base that exerts a great influence on the Buddhist world in Japan. Prosperity as a center of Buddhism from the Heian period through the Middle Ages. Mount Hiei became the center of learning and training in Japanese Buddhism. Among the people who trained here are monks such as Honen, Shinran, Dogen, and Nichiren, who later founded their own Buddhist sects. Mount Hiei also played an important role as a political and cultural center, backed by the influence of the Tendai sect. Crisis of the Sengoku period in 1571, Oda Nobunaga burned down Mount Hiei, destroying many of the buildings of Enrikuji Temple. However, Mount Hiei was rebuilt and continues to serve as the head temple of the Tendai sect today. Attractions. 1. Enrikuji Temple. The central presence of Mount Hiei. Its vast grounds are dotted with many temples and buildings, centered around the three pagodas: East Pagoda, West Pagoda, and Yokokawa Pagoda. Enrikuji Temple is registered as part of the World Heritage Site, Cultural Monuments of Ancient Kyoto, and is the perfect place to learn about Buddhist history and culture. In particular, the East Pagoda area is home to the main hall, Kanponchudo, which welcomes worshippers at all times. 2. Kanponchudo, the main hall of Enrikuji Temple and a symbol of Mount Hiei. This historic structure dates back to the Heian period, and inside the building the eternal flame of the law, lit by Dengyo Daishi Seicho, is constantly burning. It is said that this flame has been burning continuously for over 1200 years since Seicho, without ever being extinguished. 3. Daishoin and garden used as a training ground for the monks of Enrikuji Temple. Daishoin is a place where you can spend some quiet time in a calm atmosphere. The surrounding area is a Japanese garden, where you can enjoy beautiful scenery throughout the seasons. 4. View from the summit. From the summit of Mount Hiei, you can see Lake Biwa and the city of Kyoto, a beautiful sight especially on a clear day. Mount Hiei is located at an altitude of 848 meters, so you can refresh yourself in nature while sightseeing. 5. Training experience at Mount Hiei. You can experience Buddhist training such as Zen meditation and copying sutras. This is a valuable opportunity to come into contact with Buddhist teachings through a local training experience. Access. Train cable car. Mount Hiei is easily accessible from Kyoto and Shiga. From Kyoto City, take the Kihon Railway from Damakiyanagi Station to Hiezinguchi Station, then transfer to the cable car. Also, from the Lake Biwa side, you can get off at JR Hieizan Sakamoto Station, and take the Sakamoto cable car to the summit. The cable car allows you to enjoy the beautiful scenery of Mount Hiei while traveling. You can also access the mountain by car, and it takes about an hour to reach the summit from Kyoto City or Shiga Prefecture. If you use the Hieizan Driveway or Okuhiei Driveway, you can access the area while enjoying the scenery of Lake Biwa and the surrounding mountains. There are plenty of parking spaces available, but they can get crowded during peak tourist seasons. Direct buses to Mount Hiei are available from Kyoto Station and Otsu Station, making it easy to access by public transport. Things to note when visiting. 1. Especially in winter, Mount Hiei is at a high altitude, and it can snow. If you visit in winter, you will need to take precautions against the cold. The weather can change quickly in spring and autumn, so it's a good idea to bring something to wear on the summit. 2. Bring comfortable walking shoes. The grounds of Mount Hiei are vast, and you will be moving around on foot a lot. 3. Religious etiquette. Enrikuji is a Buddhist training center, and visitors are expected to remain quiet when worshipping. There are some areas where photography is prohibited or during events, so please be sure to follow the local rules. 4. Cable car operating hours. The operating hours of the cable car to Mount Hiei vary depending on the season, so it is important to check in advance. Summary. Mount Hiei is a sacred site that is home to Enrikuji Temple. A central figure in Japanese Buddhism, and its history and culture have influenced Japanese society for over 1,200 years. Founded by Seicho, it is a training center for the Tendai sect and is a place to learn about Buddhism, as well as a tourist spot with a beautiful view of Lake Biwa and Kyoto City. When visiting, it is important to pay attention to the weather and clothing, observe Buddhist etiquette, and quietly enjoy the history and scenery. 6. castle towns around Himeji Hyogo Prefecture and has developed Himeji around Castle one of Japan's most famous castles, Himeji Castle. Along with the history of Himeji Castle, the castle town developed, and the area's historical streets and culture can still be felt today. History origin of Himeji Castle in 1333 when the first fort was built by Norimura Akamatsu. Later, during the Sengoku and Azuki Momoyama periods, Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Ikeda Terumasa transformed it into its current grandeur. Himeji Castle was established in 1617 by Toshitaka Ikeda, the second son of Terumasa Ikeda, who developed a large castle town around it. The castle town around Himeji Castle developed as a commercial and cultural center during the Edo period and retains the typical layout of a castle town. Development of castle towns during the Edo period, castle towns were developed as the centers of feudal government, and commerce and handicrafts flourished. Samurai and merchants lived in the town, and townhouses and samurai residences stood in rows in the town center. Himeji Castle Town was a key transportation hub and played an important role as a commercial hub along the Saigoku-Kaido Road. Current castle town. Even today, traces of the castle town from the Edo period remain around Himeji Castle, making it a popular tourist spot. There are many areas where historical buildings have been preserved, allowing you to enjoy the atmosphere of the past. Attractions. 1. Himeji Castle. Himeji Castle is one of Japan's most famous castles, also known as the White Heron Castle. It was registered as a World Heritage Site in 1993. It features a beautiful exterior covered in white plaster, and the entire castle resembles a heron taking flight. The view from the castle tower is also amazing, with a panoramic view of the castle town and downtown Himeji. 2. Remains of samurai residences around Himeji Castle. The area around Himeji Castle is dotted with remains of samurai residences where samurai from the Edo period lived. Among them, and some gardens of the buildings and streets are designed to evoke the aesthetic sense of the samurai, and you can enjoy the scenery that changes with the seasons. 3. Kokoin Garden. A Japanese garden located on the west side of Himeji Castle, famous for its stroll-style. The garden is divided into 9 different gardens, each with its own unique atmosphere. In particular, during the autumn foliage and cherry blossom seasons, the entire garden is decorated in vibrant colors, attracting many tourists. 4. Otame Street. Otame Street, which runs from the front of Himeji Castle, was the main street of the old castle town. Currently, it is a bustling downtown area lined with commercial facilities, but there are areas dotted along the street where you can still feel the remnants of the castle town. 5. Himeji City Museum of Art. A museum renovated from a former army arsenal, where you can enjoy art alongside historical architecture. Modern and contemporary Japanese paintings and crafts are on display, allowing you to enjoy both art and history at the same time. 6. Kamayama Gobo Hontouji Temple. One of the temples remaining in the castle town. This is an ancient temple of the Jodo Shinshu back to the Sengoku period and has preserved old buildings and gardens, making it of great historical value. Access. By train. The nearest stations to Himeji Castle are Junior Himeji Station or Sanyo Electric Railway Sanyo Himeji Station. Himeji Castle is about a 15-minute walk from Himeji Station. You can also take a bus from Himeji Station, get off at Otame Park, and it is a short walk from there. Car. If you are visiting by car, there are several parking lots around Himeji Castle. It is convenient to use the Himeji Bypass or National Route 2. However, it tends to get crowded during peak tourist season, so we recommend visiting early. Bus. The Himeji Castle Loop bus runs from Himeji Station, allowing you to efficiently travel around the sightseeing spots around Himeji Castle. Things to remember when visiting. 1. Himeji Castle is especially crowded with tourists during the cherry blossom season in spring and the autumn foliage season. If you want to avoid crowds, it's best to visit on a weekday morning or during the off-season. 2. Weather precautions. The sun is strong in the summer, so you will need to take precautions against the heat when walking around the castle grounds in Castle Town. We recommend bringing a hat, sunscreen and a drink. In addition, the wind gets cold in winter, so you will need to bring warm clothing. 3. Prepare comfortable walking shoes. Himeji Castle and the surrounding samurai residences have many stone pavements and stairs, so it is advisable to wear comfortable walking shoes. 4. Be aware of entrance times. Himeji Castle entrance times vary depending on the season. In particular, admission may be restricted after the evening, so it is a good idea to check in advance. Summary. The castle town around Himeji is a historic city that developed around Himeji Castle. And you can enjoy the typical layout and atmosphere of a Japanese castle town. In addition to the beauty of Himeji Castle itself, there is plenty to see, including the surrounding samurai residences, historic temples, and beautiful gardens. You can enjoy a leisurely stroll through the castle town while enjoying the historical atmosphere, making it a particularly recommended tourist destination for those with an interest in culture and history. When you visit, be aware of crowds and weather conditions and plan a comfortable trip. We have introduced some carefully selected sightseeing spots in the Kinki region. These spots are a mix of history and nature, and are easily accessible. If you pay attention to the precautions, come and visit at least once. You will be able to have a wonderful sight. We apologize for the fact that some parts of the video are difficult to hear.